This is Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis. It's the one that started an entire franchise. This is Sonic the Hedgehog for PlayStation 3 and also available for the Xbox 360. The one that almost, and in some people's minds probably should have, killed the franchise. Then you got Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis for the Game Boy Advance. Yeah.
Released in 2006 to commemorate 15 years of blue blurring action, Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis was theoretically a port of the original Mega Drive Classic, allowing players to take this classic game on the go on a portable system with significantly more battery life. This then-new take on Sonic the First would be augmented with an automatic save feature that kept track of the zones you've played and cleared, from which you could go back and replay at any time, sort of like an unlockable level select, and provided two modes of play: Original Mode, which is theoretically the classic Sonic we all know, and Anniversary Mode, which is pretty much the same game, but now you have access to the spin dash move that was introduced in Sonic 2, allowing for more direct access to Sonic's great speed. Now in theory, Sonic Genesis is the same game as its namesake Origin. You control Sonic through 6 zones with 3 acts apiece, running and rolling through enemies and hurdles and such. If you manage to reach the end of a level with 50 rings or more, you can jump into this big ring and play the game's special stages, which is this rotating maze piece of business that you have to navigate in order to reach a Chaos Emerald, of which there were 6 at a time, as opposed to 7 nowadays, or the 11 billion emeralds in Sonic Spinball. I think that's how many there were, I lost count. Now in theory, Sonic Genesis hits all the right notes. In practice, however, not so much. Sonic 1 is not a game that I go back to often, but it's one I could admire for laying the basic foundations for subsequent superior Sonic titles that would come along later. The fact that Sonic Genesis bungles that game's transition to the Game Boy Advance shouldn't really shock me, because I've seen the GBA struggle with Genesis conversions in the past, the Sega Smash Pack for example. But on the other hand, you had the Sonic Advance series, which did a fine job, I thought, of bringing the Sonic experience over to Nintendo's little handheld gimmick while adding its own flourishes for better or worse. So a version of vanilla Sonic on this thing is riddled with a bunch of issues. Faulty physics for one. Sonic doesn't quite control well due to some horrifically delayed response, and even then, Sonic doesn't quite move the way he should move, at least compared to the original game. Nothing feels smooth or natural, but rather rough and janky. Elements will pop out of nowhere as you roll through the level, slowdowns that cause the game to chuck harder than insert slow as shit thing here. Speed momentum issues that put Sonic 4 to shame, and most egregious of all, the sloppy hit detection that will work whenever it feels like it. There will be times when I could have sworn I took damage standing next to the spike bed instead of landing on top of it. A rare occurrence, but these things shouldn't have happened to begin with. And yes, you do have the option to do a spin dash here via the Anniversary Mode, but it's such a worthless addition due to how broken it is. Dashing into things and taking damage when you're not supposed to, the ridiculously slow wind-up that puts Sonic CD's spin flop to shame. Even the special stages feel like a chore to play, and the sudden speed changes where it goes slow and fast without rhyme or reason, and even without touching the appropriate speed buttons laid out throughout these stages, makes this whole endeavor a futile exercise. The sad thing about this is that you can do good Sonic on the Game Boy Advance. It's been done on the Game Boy Advance. The Sonic Advance games are a good example of that. But if you want to veer outside that particular box, there is that stealth demo showcasing Green Hill Zone. It runs wonderfully for something that plays only one zone. And there's even this one other Sonic demo I came across years ago that also tried to do the Sonic 1 thing, and that ran fine too. And then you have this, which is just... Sometimes it feels like Sega sees a Sonic anniversary coming up, and they whip up something for the occasion without much thought or care put into it, because they figure Sonic fans will eat it up because anything with that blue hedgehog on the cover will sell like hotcakes regardless of whether it's good or not. It's, unfortunately, something of a recurring theme with this franchise, especially in recent years and despite some rare exceptions to the rule. Now the good news is that the graphics are more or less exactly the same as they appeared on the Sega Genesis, and the nice thing is that these graphics still hold up, right? Colorful and detailed. Not bad for a game system considered to be weaker than its 16-bit rival SNES. The bad news is that every once in a while the broken gameplay will kick in, and for a short instance garbage will replace the backdrops of each level. Also, various stage items such as enemies or even entire inanimate platforms will pop in and out at times. It's kind of rubbish, quite frankly. Now when you pop the game into your Game Boy Advance and you turn the system on, you can hear the familiar Sega chant that has adorned almost every side-scrolling Sonic game on the Genesis. Then the title music hits and it sounds horrible. The Genesis's sound capabilities weren't powerful, but they were able to make wonderful soundtracks in Sonic lore, and they sure sound a heck of a lot better than this. And it gets worse, as the in-game sound effects sound awful. Absolutely nothing like the original Genesis sound effects. The rings sound alright. A bit crunchy, but they sound alright, but everything else sounds like crap, and again, some of these sounds have been replicated in the Sonic Advance series just fine. So I don't know what the deal is here. There's an old tagline that Sega used to use in their initial Sega Genesis commercials. It's one you've probably heard before, and that's Genesis does what Nintendo don't. And that sentiment perfectly describes the shipwreck known as Sonic Genesis. Granted, it's not straight-up emulation and the intentions were noble, but ultimately the final product is a bug-ridden, lag-infested port that is Sonic the Hedgehog in name only. This is a sad way of celebrating Sonic's 15th birthday, but in a way I'm glad this exists. Because no matter how poor your Genesis emulator or clone system may be, or how jank or broken the latest Sonic port may come across, it will never be as bad as Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis for the Game Boy Advance. A hard pass.